this should not be a national news story whatsoever. This really shouldn't be, because it's like, okay, two teenagers got into a fight and one got stabbed. It's like, doesn't this happen all the time? It's just because we're in like this like bizarro world, America, where every race war argument plays out on live TV. I don't know.
The lower bond comes amidst rising tensions in the community after the stabbing during a high school track meet on April 2nd that led to the death of Austin Metcalf.
End result, he stabbed my son in the heart and killed him. That's what it was over.
According to the arrest report, a witness told police Metcalf asked Anthony, who attends a different high school, to move to his own school's tent at the meet. Anthony then told Metcalf, "Touch me and see what happens."
Who, famous last words, Jesus Christ. I mean, and look, obviously there is a racial component to this. Like, people are trying to use this narrative as a way of proving that black teenagers are wacky and wild. And, as someone that was a black teenager, clearly a nerdy one, right? I can attest, like, yeah, some black kids are wacky and wild. Is that because they're black? Maybe. I mean, I'm sure there's there's cultural elements that I can acknowledge, right? But it's not like being black and a child makes you predisposed to violence or something. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean, you got kids that want to be gangsters, and they usually say stuff like this: touch me and see what happens. We don't, devil's advocate here, we don't know how this white child was approaching him. We don't know if he was being threatening, or if he did anything to escalate it as well. Doesn't mean he deserved to die, in case that's not obvious, but
according to a witness, and later Metcalf grabbed Anthony to tell him to move. Metcalf's father, Jeff Metcalf, telling our NBC station in Dallas his son died in his twin brother's arms after he was stabbed.
I will never be the same.
Anthony telling a responding officer at the scene, "I was protecting myself before being questioned," according.
And look, you know what I mean? And again, it's like, I wish I didn't even have to view this through a racial lens, because I really don't think this is a racial situation. But if this was a white person, the self-defense argument would be almost a given. It would almost be a given. It would be like, how are we going to dig ourselves out of his self-defense plea? Because it feels like white people in America can pull the self-defense plea whenever they feel like, and it's highly effective, right? When it's a black kid, people are starting to think about it like, hey, like, is this self-defense plea really like fair in every instance? You know what I mean? Which is another instance of inequality, so I do understand why some black people are cocking their heads. It's like, why is this such a problem suddenly?
According to the arrest report, later saying in the police report, "I'm not alleged, I did it," in response to the officer referring to him as an alleged suspect. Since the stabbing, tensions over race have surfaced, leading to meetings between activists and officials. An online fund for Anthony raising more than $400,000 for his defense.
That's also
the nonprofit
kind of
civil rights group Next Generation Action Network demanding protection for Anthony's family after claims their home address was leaked online.
We have saw so many different hateful images, just hateful things.
You know what? And again, I guess I should just lead up front with my opinion. I think this Karmelo Anthony kid was super in the wrong for stabbing somebody in a fight. in general, right? I feel like that's just kind of what it comes down to, right? It's kind of what it comes down to for me, because it didn't need to go that far. And the reason they were fighting was stupid in the first place. He shouldn't have been in the spot where he shouldn't have been, right? I feel like that's fair, right? But the fact that white supremacists have kind of used this as a beacon to be racist, there's no doubt in my mind that this family is getting all sorts of nuts mail, emails, people probably coming by their house, you know what I mean? And again, to be fair, I think the parents did screw up. You raised a kid that stabbed somebody at a school event. You feel me? That's time to self-reflect, but they don't deserve to have firebombs at their house, you know what I mean, or whatever they're getting threatened with.
This weekend, Austin Metcalf, who family described as a scholar, leader, and star athlete, was laid to rest. Tonight, two families' lives change forever as this case moves forward.
This is a terrible tragedy for our entire, not just Frisco, but Collin County community. One family has suffered a permanent loss. It's the most unnatural thing for a parent to lose their child.
Unnatural. That's a good way to put it.
It's permanent. It's profound. It's certainly premature. and it's the hardest thing that I think a human being can go through.
Shout out to that prosecutor, I'm assuming, or prosecutor adjacent. It doesn't seem like he's just chomping at the bit, like, yeah, we're gonna lock him up. We're gonna lock him up. It's he has to prosecute him because something terrible took place. It doesn't look like anyone's getting any glee out of it except for the people arguing about it online.
Him and Austin, and he said, I'm gonna come over and see you this weekend. I said, okay, I look forward to it.
I'm not sure if this is going to get covered in this video, but I have a lot of respect for this father, Jeff Metcalf, just because the way that he's been presenting it, like, he's really not feeding into like the online hate of it all. Like, he's not even like wishing bad on Carmelo Anthony's situation either. It's just a mature adult. It's like, I really lost my kid to some BS at school. This is awful, and he's taking it like a man, and I can't even imagine what it's like for his twin. You know what I mean? Your twin dying in your arms. My mom's a twin. Jesus, it's a very special bond. And to be so young too, I feel bad for him. I really do.
He said, I love you, Dad. I said, I love you too, son. Those were the last words I ever heard from him.
Dang.
We were just one person. We did everything the same. We were just exactly alike. Like, we had a couple of differences, but most of the stuff we did together, the stuff we had, it's just, we felt as one person. So it's just like we just connected so well in everything we did.
His commitment, his work ethic was about football. The boy stayed in the gym. The boy he led the team. He was the leader. He was the glue. He was the driving force of that defense. He carried that team.
Yeah, every time we go to the gym,
football in
stronger,
Texas,
get better, get faster.
It's a sacred bond, yeah.
I got an accomplishment in the weight room for football, and then Austin's smile just popped up. It was just so proud of me. He just gave me the biggest hug.
Damn, that sucks.
He was on his way to becoming a super positive impact in this world. It's not right. You should never bury your children. It's a very unfortunate, tragic outcome. Not only for this family, but I feel for the family of the assailant, because his life is over.
I mean, if you're a grown man, like, with like adult perspective, then you know that that's so true. Because at the end of the day, I think he's empathizing with a whole nother family that's gonna struggle too. They lost their son too. You know what I mean? He's probably not getting out for this. for all this craziness, like, he's probably not getting out for this. I wouldn't expect him to, as a black person. Like, and the dad is just kind of keeping it a buck. Like, you know what I mean? I feel bad for them too. It didn't have to be this way. So, there's a debate. There's a debate as to who's in the wrong here, In a effort to be fair, we're going to listen to both sides. Right? We're going to listen to both sides, and I already know where I'm leaning, but I'll withhold the majority of my judgment until I see both perspectives a little bit. Right? Fair? I think so. Let's see.
3 years ago, my family moved to North Texas searching for a better life. Like so many other families, we wanted to give our children the future we did not have. My husband works hard every single day to provide for us, to make sure we're in the best financial position possible. As a stay-at-home mom, I made it my life's mission to ensure our children are loved, nurtured, and supported every step of the way. In wake of this tragic incident, our family has been under attack. Whatever you think what happened between Karmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about.
Which is so true. That's just so true. You know what I mean? I can kind of see why the story is alluring to everybody, because it's like the deeper you get into it, it's like the more tempting it is to sway your opinion, because it's like, she's right. Like, they don't deserve that. And luckily, I would say, like, this black family is kind of bucking any kind of stereotype that you might have about them, because she was like, okay, I'm a stay-at-home mom. My husband is the sole breadwinner. Like, we have like a standard nuclear family. You know what I mean? So we're not these lawless, ignorant, ratchet people that that the angry mob is probably telling them that they are. You know. And it's probably really hard for her. It's not like this woman's like camera trained. Like, you know what I mean? She's like stumbling getting through this because she probably never thought she'd have to make a statement like this. She's like, what? She's probably like, I have to. Like, I have to. The lawyers are probably like, yo, you have to, because like, this is out of control. This is a national news story. Like, pretty sure Donald Trump's going to weigh in on this pretty soon. Like, oof.
Lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has been overwhelming. The lies and their amplification put my family in danger, as well as everyone in our community, everyone involved in the investigation, from the police, the attorneys, and the court staff. Our address and my husband's previous employer's address has been put on all social media platforms. My husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid what may happen to our family. His mental health is deteriorating day by day. We have endured death threats.
I don't doubt that.
My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what may happen to her. And let me be clear, the claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false. We have not received a single dime from the Give, Send, Go fundraiser.
Holy moly, they didn't even get the money. They didn't even get the money. Was that a hoax? Where is this 400 grand going then? Was it just like a grift? Or was it just propaganda just to rile people up in the opposite direction? Oof. All right, yeah, this story has layers, no doubt about it.
The co-founder has stated that clearly. In the reality, we were just notified yesterday that we could begin to withdraw funds.
Okay. So the money's real, but
I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated against before a fair trial.
That's true.
Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to.
That's
He's
true.
been raised in a 2-parent home with structure, stability, love, and we put God first in everything that we do. We believe in the Constitution. We believe in the laws of this state, but those laws must apply to all of us, not just some of us.
She's spitting facts, yo. Whoever prepared this statement, she was a little shaky in the beginning, but yo, she's really delivering it. Like, she's kind of swaying me a little bit. But she's right. Like, the fair trial, it's like all the facts haven't even come out yet, but everyone has already formed their opinion. They're probably really hard for her as this boy's mom. And,
Okay. Here's my thing. I just feel like, listen, at the end of the day, it was an unfortunate thing that happened. And people are going to say, well, you're not supposed to, hit or use weapons or kill somebody, if somebody puts their hands on you. At the end of the day, you don't just go up and be putting your hands on people because you don't know what they have. Okay? I've always been told in my house, in my family, you always keep something on you. You don't keep it on you with the intent to use it, but you keep it.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Your family says always keep it on you? I don't know. That's not my family. I'm square, I guess. I went to hyper-Christian household. Like, no one in my family really owned weapons. Maybe some of my uncles, but like, this is never anything that they would like talk to me about, I'm pretty anti-weapon personally. Just these boys. Just these. And luckily I haven't had to use them to really teach anybody a lesson. Not anytime recently.
It on you if you need to defend yourself. You keep weapons in your car. You keep weapons around the house. You keep weapons on your person. We're talking about a young 17-year-old black boy that probably is in Texas, Frisco, Texas, at that, probably redneck city. Let's just be real here. You're walking around. I don't think that he went to that game with the intent to harm somebody. But the thing is this, if I'm walking around, I'm outside, I'm by myself, if somebody tried to kidnap me, somebody tried to attack me, I have a weapon on me.
Now, what this guy is saying is making sense. Like, at first I thought like the I stand with Carmelo Anthony people were a little bit silly, but I mean, yeah, like this is not a bad point that he's making. I don't know if I personally buy that the knife was brought out solely because he was in danger of his life. I think tempers were just flaring, and he knew that he could win the fight with the knife. I think that's what it comes down to, especially since Austin is like a football player and versus like a track star. You know what I mean? He just looks like he would beat him in a fight. Personally, that's what I think. That's probably also what has a lot of like supremacists riled up. You know what I mean? Because this was their white W. This is gonna be a W for the white boy, and he lost it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Okay, so in an effort to be fair and balanced, we're also gonna hear from someone who's anti Carmelo Anthony and see what his take on it is. In full disclosure, like this is a guy that I follow for uh I subscribed to him a while back because he does like just general life advice videos, or like he used to back in the day, and he's kind of shifted his content to criticizing black people and just general conservative slop. And he's losing fans for it. I actually even commented on this video like, bro, what are you saying? But this is my first time watching it all the way through, so I figured we'll react to it, get a conservative's take on all this. I'm sure it'll be reasonable. Let's see.
What's up, YouTube? Carmelo Anthony, the young man that was accused of stabbing Austin Metcalf on April 2nd, has been released from jail. He had his bond reduced from $1 million down to $250,000. 10% of that is $25,000.
Yep.
I hate how they're saying suspect or accused, like the kid's guilty, 100%. And then he's just guilty. I mean, however you want to look at it, he admitted to it. He's guilty. People saw him do it. They know he did it. But hey, let's tap into it.
That's the first thing where I'm gonna say nah, because he's not guilty, right? Or he's not guilty of the M word. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube or Twitch. He's not guilty. The trial hasn't happened yet.
At the end of the day, you killed someone. That captain of the track team, captain of the football team, 4.0 GPA, all that bullshit goes out the window. You murdered someone. It's over. They're claiming self-defense. To me, self-defense is force on force. Now, I could put it to you like this. If he'd have really been getting his ass beat, then yes, that's...
It looks like that's what was happening. And this is just my speculation as well. That's what this guy is doing right now. He's speculating. I don't think that boy could have beaten that other boy. You know what I mean? Because this is football versus track, and why even bring out the knife if you're winning? Right? So I do genuinely believe he was getting his ass beat.
Self-defense, but somebody pushes you. That's like me saying that I go into Walmart and some old guy pushes me and I just stab him to death. And then I claim self-defense. It's a force on force. This is not a stand your ground situation. The kid grabbed him, pushed him, doesn't matter.
But why does that not matter? Right? Like, why does that not matter? Because isn't that the very definition of self-defense? He was in a place where he was standing his ground. He was like, I don't want to get kicked out of the rain tent. I'm standing my ground, right? The white boy tried to forcibly remove him, and he got stabbed for it. I don't think that's right, but that's objectively what happened. No, he stood his ground. Now, he was trespassing technically. I mean, I guess maybe he's going to make an argument for that, but that's the definition of standing your ground as I understand it.
Doesn't matter. You don't open fire. You don't start stabbing. It does not matter. And I wish I'd have pulled up another video. There's a video that I found. See, I've been around scenarios like this. They freaking told the kid before he came out of that courthouse, don't smile, don't laugh, don't say anything. Just keep walking and get in the car. And there's a video when you guys have to look it up online. I don't have it, but there's a video when you could tell he wants to smile, but he holds it back. They're telling this kid, it's okay. We got your back. You killed someone. Cool. No problem.
Are they really saying that? Like, are they really saying that? Isn't this a little bit of an extrapolation? Like, do you think his parents didn't terrorize him for this? You think it was an easy conversation? You think they were all like, "Oh, nah, it's cool, bro. Yo, Mello, yo, it's chill, bro. It's chill. Like, you stab somebody, it's not even that big of a deal." Like, no, like, all of their lives are ruined. And I'm sure, and just because they're protecting their son with, like, competent legal representation doesn't mean that they think all this stuff is cool.
Here's a picture of the judge that lowered his bond. Whether she is or isn't a DEI judge, I don't know. A lot of people say that she is. And for those that don't know, DEI is basically unqualified people. That's it.
All right. That's stupid. All right. And look, and here's the thing. So diversity, equity, and inclusion is like a style of hiring practice where you prioritize people that aren't well represented in your organization. But the common misconception is that you're unqualified if you get a DEI hire, when in reality, it's like you still need to pass the same level of scrutiny that any other candidate would have. You know what I mean? And, speaking from the experience of people that I know, DEI isn't even particularly helpful to black people. Like, for instance, my uncle went to Yale and he was searching for DEI programs for the better part of 2 years and he couldn't even get a response back, and not just him, but other people I know too. DEI is purely at the discretion of the hirers. And the only reason why such a thing exists in the first place is because without it, it would be even more lopsided, because people want to hire people that look like them. Most white people are in power. Or I shouldn't say that. Most people in power are white. You know what I mean? They are white in America, at least, right? So they're going to hire people that are like them. That's not necessarily nefarious, but I think DEI is a good incentive to think about people that don't look like you. You know what I mean? But let's see how this guy describes it.
Man, woman, black, white, unqualified people. They've a lot of DEI pilots, things like that. We all know it. These people did not hold the certifications that were needed to be able to fly the planes, so on and so on. They say this woman is a DEI judge. I have not dug into her history, but that's what they're calling her. The DEI judge. You're 17 years old. You killed someone. Now your family gets $500,000. They come to the courthouse. You're $500,000 richer. They put you in a nice suit, make you look all good. They get you out of jail. They get your bond reduced. I mean, you're on top of the world. You're on top of the world. You're feeling like a fucking gangster. Now you're on top of the world. You got the media paying attention to you. You got $500,000 in your pocket. Your family's getting ready to buy. I didn't tell y'all, but they're getting ready to use that money to buy a new house. Come on, man.
So I think there's a lot of projection going on here, and look, it's fine if this guy like really truly does feel like good fortune is befalling this family that doesn't deserve it. That's a perfectly fine argument to have, but I think for him to kind of paint it out like this teenager who's probably going to go to jail for the rest of his life is just gleeful with like this situation that he's created that's destroyed his family's lives. His little sister can't sleep at night. I think is just attributing a level of malice that it doesn't get attributed to white kids. I just don't think it does. I just don't think it does. And obviously I'm going to be biased because I was a black teenager at one point, not too long ago, I'm not that old. Right. But, and guys like this were always around the corner, just ready to attribute, the highest level of just nefariousness to you, I don't know. I don't know.
And obviously, because of these two, you got people on both sides of the aisle race baiting and grifting because one's one color and the other's another. But I'm going to be clearing up all of that for you and describing how a detective would go and investigate this scenario and what Texas law has to say about all of this. Was this a crystal clear case of self-defense, or was this obviously a murder? Now,
I'm appreciating the pragmatism from this guy. We've had everyone's opinion. We've had everyone's emotional opinion. It would be nice to see some to see something objective here.
I've got things that other people don't. Because I waited a little while and took my time investigating this, I've got the police report and the original statements from the officers that responded on scene. Now, the video of the incident, which from different news stories state that there's several videos, have not been released yet. And I don't expect those to before the trial gets going. And once the trial gets going, I'm sure then some of the edited or maybe not edited video will come out. Here's my opinion and breakdown of what we've received so far from the police report and how we can apply it to these statutes. The defense for Karmelo Anthony is going to have a hard time trying to use the stand your ground law as a defense, specifically where it says that the individual can't have provoked the situation.
Yeah. And look, like, you know what I mean? I'm sympathetic to both parties. I do think Karmelo Anthony was in the wrong personally. But yeah, it's like you weren't supposed to be there. There's really kind of no way around that. And I can definitely empathize with a teenage boy not trying to be out in the rain because his school's his school's area isn't sufficient. But like, you still weren't supposed to be there, dog. Like, you can't really get mad that they don't want you there. I mean, you could get mad, but you can't stab him. Like, come on, man.
Right, we go back to the police report. One kid goes to the visitor's side, where all the visitors are, where none of his teammates are, and then chooses to sit down underneath a tent of not his high school, surrounded by none of the people he knows. To which somebody says, hey, you need to move, and his immediate response is, touch me and see what happens, per one of the witnesses. That sounds, to me, an awful lot like somebody trying to start some with a group of people. If I'm at the beach and I have a tent set up and my family's in it, and a stranger comes over and then plops themselves next to my family, I'm gonna look at them like, what are you doing? Get away from my shit. Yes, I'm in a public space, but you're like in my shit by my family. Off. And if he goes, touch me and see what happens, well, that just looks to me like he's intentionally starting a fight with me. Why?
I don't necessarily completely agree with this guy's analysis. The beach analogy can only stretch so far because, again, it's like, and maybe this is like just the narrative of the defense, but it's like, it's not like he was doing this just to do it. It's like he was trying to escape the rain. So I feel like that's kind of more reasonable to be in a place that you're not supposed to be for that reason. Also, I don't know if that's necessarily starting something. I think if I was Carmelo Anthony, like, I would probably have the opinion of, oh, well, him coming up to me saying to get out, trying to Rosa Parks me, maybe that's an escalation, right? It's really how you view it. And I don't know. I'm kind of of two minds of this thing. It's a lot more nuanced than I initially thought it was.
I don't know. But in Karmelo's case, one could speculate that he wanted to start a fight with somebody, and that his intent may have been to stab somebody.
I don't think his intent was to stab somebody. Like, he left the house. It's like, man, can't wait to catch this body. I can't wait. Like, Fox News is probably painting him out to be like, yeah, I'm trying to catch this body. But I think it's more likely it's like, man, ain't nobody gonna mess with me. Ain't nobody gonna mess with me. If I need somewhere to stay, then no one can kick me out. I don't know.
And use self-defense as a defense. Why do I say that? I know, because I'm a horrible man and I hate everybody. No. After he sits down and says these things, his hand immediately goes into his bag and starts fiddling around. Remember what we talked about when we said some of the things you can't do for use of deadly force? Speculative force. If you're sitting down in the bleachers under somebody's tent, they tell you to move, you say, touch me, you see what happens, and then immediately grab your knife in your backpack for the speculative force that they might use, you're already wrong. You're already amping up the situation and preparing to use deadly force when it's not authorized, because guess what? Number two, proportionality. If a kid's picking you up and tossing you off of a bleacher, that doesn't give you the right to use deadly force.
In theory, I feel like, I don't know, like, I really feel like there've been white kids that got away with shooting for way less, and that's just what's stuck in our craw. It's to me, the king of all black people, the spokesman for all black people. I feel like, the people of color that are defending this crash out, let's be real here, this crash out, is just because they want to retroactively get justice for situations where white children used a disproportionate amount of force and got away with it scot-free.